Okay, good evening. First off, I'd like to bring you greetings from the city of Durham, the county of Durham, and our other counterparts and colleagues that have come together tonight to welcome you, to connect with you, to engage, and really discuss how we as a community can continue to support the effort in terms of building, supporting, and helping grow the minority business community in Durham and beyond. To that end, for tonight's event, in terms of trying to help further that initiative, we pulled together some of our local colleagues that have committed to supporting the growth and development of our minority business communities. As you see, here are some of the representatives here that are listed on this slide. We will have presentations of approximately 2 to 3 minutes from those individuals to kind of talk about their organization, their commitment to the cause, and how this collaboration, how they see themselves fitting into this collaboration to that greater end of helping improve equity and access to opportunity for our minority business communities. Now, in terms of introductions, my name is Eric Miller. I'm with the City of Durham's Equity and Inclusion Department. I've been with the city for about 5 years now. I work in our contracting and compliance division. All the other individuals on our panel that will be before you tonight, they'll introduce themselves at the designated time. Okay, in terms of Med Week, the things that we want you to consider for the upcoming week. Tonight, we have the Meet the Team event. This is where we're going to talk about the collaboration. Tomorrow, we have the honor ceremony where we'll recognize the achievements of minority businesses in the community, our advocates, and talk about how we as a community can continue to build on this momentum and effort that we're all trying to support in terms of building equity for our minority business communities. On Wednesday, we're going to have the engaging in local growth discussion. And this is where we're going to talk about some local partners and initiatives that within their organizations, they want to support in efforts that they're committed to help further the cause as well. On Thursday, we'll have the Minority Business Fair. At that event, we'll provide opportunities for business owners to offer their 1 to 2 minute pitch to discuss their products and scope of services and talk about how they want to promote and market their business and possibly engage with some of our partners that will be presenting tonight. And then on Friday, we're going to talk about how we as individuals and organizations can help reduce cyber risk. So we're going to have a presentation about some of the things that we can do as an organization to protect ourselves, to prevent against those threats. Okay, so this environment's a little different than what we've been accustomed to for our Med Week events. We are excited, though, that it still allows us to connect as a community in ways that we've done in the past. Last year, we didn't have our Med Week, and we didn't want to miss an opportunity for another year to connect, engage, and show our continued support towards our cause. Now, in terms of agreements that we need to make beforehand when utilizing these virtual platforms, we will try to accommodate everyone with questions. We'll allot enough time throughout the presentations to allow people to ask questions, primarily through the chat box. That's going to be the best mechanism for us since we have a larger group that will be in attendance tonight. So we're asking that you type your questions in the chat box, and we'll answer those at the appropriate time, which will probably be following the presentations from our respective panelists. Now, in terms of background noise, we're asking everyone to mute themselves because, as I mentioned earlier, we do have a larger audience, and to limit the amount of background noise, we're requesting that everyone mute themselves, and we'll certainly allow access if you've been recognized to respond, and we'll certainly unmute you at that time because we want to make this event as engaging and interactive as possible. Now, in terms of why we're here, 30 years of Med Week in Durham. Welcome again to the City of Durham's Minority Enterprise Development Week. We're excited about this year because it's a unique opportunity for us to come together in this virtual arena and continue the work that we're all committed to doing. It's an exciting opportunity because we can highlight some of the achievements of our colleagues and business counterparts as well, and continue to educate, connect, and engage in ways that's sustainable, informative, and genuine. So we want to make sure that these events provide that unique experience that gives you something that you can walk away from that's unique to Durham, to this year's Med Week, and your operation as well. Over the years, the City of Durham has partnered with many organizations and corporations and individuals in this effort, and that's why it's important for us to highlight the collaboration component of what we're really trying to drive home during this week of Med Week. Over the past year, the pandemic has affected many business owners and us personally in ways that many of us haven't experienced prior to this time. So it's important that we can leverage our partnerships, our relationships, and lean on each other in times like this to propel us in ways that we need that additional nudge, in times that it can be more challenging. And so to that end, we really want to emphasize the importance of collaboration, which is why this night's event is really focused on helping build those internal and external relationships that will be key for all of us to establish sustainable partnerships moving forward. Now, in terms of the purpose, now Med Week really is about celebrating the accomplishments and achievements of our minority business communities, but it also gives us an opportunity to reflect upon areas where we may need to improve upon. Now, with Durham being a very diverse community, as you can see some of the percentages of the demographic breakdown, it's important that the diversity reflects in the opportunities and the realization of the economic prosperity that others see within our community. So to that end, it's important for us to continue to be innovative, creative, and really challenge, one another to do more to continue to support the growth and development of minority business communities. And as you can see, there's a lot of barriers and challenges that our minority business community is still experiencing. And so we really want to make sure that we highlight where we've been able to succeed and go beyond those barriers, but also recognize where those barriers and obstacles still exist, and discuss mechanisms and resources that we as a community and collaborative partners can continue to develop and support to take us beyond those challenges. My apologies. Okay, here we go. Okay. All right. And one thing that I wanted to highlight is that we did have a disparity study that was done back in 2014 that identified some of the racial disparities that existed within our local marketplace. And so it's important, like I discussed earlier, to recognize where those barriers and challenges exist. And so we're going to continue to do the work that's important to continue to move our community beyond those challenges that we've seen over the last few years. So now in terms of what that means for us and where we're at today, as a result of those challenges and what we've highlighted before, we all understand that there's a part that we play in this process. As someone who works in a local municipality here in the city of Durham, I understand how me and my role fit into the process and how I need to support and continue to do the work that's necessary to further our purpose along. But to that end, it takes all of us. It takes the community, it takes the residents, it takes the business owners, it takes our advocacy groups, it takes the private industry partners, it takes all of us as a comprehensive unit operating cohesively to continue to support the growth that goes beyond not just the walls of Durham, but nationally and globally. And our study results show that Durham, apologies. The study results have shown that there's certainly things that Durham needs to do. And one of those is to continue with our race-based programs that really highlights the need to have project participation goals, certain opportunities through small business initiatives that support the growth and development of those small business communities. Now on to the collaboration. A lot of the focus tonight is about how we can work together as a cohesive unit. And so I really want to focus now on how we as individuals play those parts in that process. And so What you're going to hear tonight is representatives from various organizations and private industry partners that are committed to the work and have partnered with us to help continue to support from a resource standpoint, from a informational, educational resource, as well as provide some technical guidance in those opportunities where the subject matter expertise may be lacking in certain areas internally. We can lean on their subject matter prowess to kind of help us further enhance the work that we're going to continue to do. And so some of the partners that are going to be highlighted tonight are the City of Durham. We have the county as well, Durham Public Schools, the Hub Office, the National Institute of Economic Development, the Greater Durham Black Chamber of Commerce, the Durham Chamber, Duke Health, the Chase Construction, Samick Corporation, SAS, and Skanska, to name a few. And at the conclusion of the presentation, we really want to open up for the informal discussion so we can really talk as a unit about some of the things that we can do to help further this effort and cause. Okay, and so you've heard enough of me already, but now it's my time to talk about some of the things that are going on with the City of Durham and how we as a city want to continue to support the growth and development of minority business communities. So a lot of people are familiar that the City of Durham does have participation requirements on our project opportunities, which are broken down into the 4 contracting categories. We have minority goals set for construction. We have goals set also in the professional service arena. We have them in the service category and in the procurement of goods. So it's an opportunity for us to establish baselines for participation for our minority businesses in that space. The challenge oftentimes, though, is it doesn't create enough first-tier participation and real opportunity for growth and full participation in the contracting process. And so some of the things that we really want to focus on moving forward is providing the necessary support to whether that's in the financial support arena or whether that's in the information access space as well. Oftentimes we found out that information about prospective opportunities doesn't necessarily filter down to the respective communities quick enough so that they can be active participants in the process. So we really want to focus on being more transparent in information and more direct and immediate in how we connect firms to real opportunities. And part of that really relies on us getting intel from you as a business owner about where you see yourself fitting in the contracting process so that we're not more knowledgeable about the makeup of our local marketplace. We also want to focus on technical assistance programs that are more customized and personalized to the specific needs of business owners. Oftentimes, there's things that we've done that support a broader need, but we really want to focus on what are those things that certain business owners need that may have been lacking in the past and what resources we have access to support them gaining better access to enhance their own personal operations. And then in turn, strengthening up our overall business ecosystem. Another way that we've accomplished that is through our small local business program as well. That's an opportunity for business owners to participate as a prime on opportunities that tend to be smaller in amount and size. So it's a way for us to target specific opportunities in certain communities for them to engage directly with the city. And so for some of the things that I'm discussing tonight, I won't have enough time to go into a lot of detail, but I really want you all to think about how you see yourself fitting into the contracting process with the city and maybe some of the needs you need from a resource standpoint for us to support your business moving forward. And I encourage you to reach out to our office and see what assistance we can offer to that end. And I'm going to have my information available later in the chat. So now I'm going to transition this portion of the presentation over to Keisha Davis.
Hi, thank you, Eric. Like you, I mean, I know that I won't be able to share everything that we're doing, but I hope to give you all a brief overview of what the MWBE program does. First of all, let me back up a little bit and say that My name is Keisha Davis, and I have been the MWBE Program Coordinator with Durham County Government for about 7 years now. And when I look at Midweek this year, I'm put in mind of our theme for this year, which is Thriving Through Adversity. Last year, we were not able to have Midweek because of COVID, and this year we are attempting to pivot and have a virtual midweek. So we're working through some of the nuances with that. So I'm appreciative to everyone that is here. Honored to say that I work for Durham County government and that I work for an organization that is committed to equity in the procurement of our goods and services. So much so that we have an MWBE ordinance, which governs the program that I coordinate. And I like to think of our approach as a multifaceted one in approaching minority enterprise development. And I'll go over a little bit about what that looks like. One of the things that we do is we work with minority and women business owners to assist them in being ready and able to contract with us for goods and services. And we also work with those who are not ready and may not ever contract with us for goods and services to make sure that they have business readiness skills and that they know how to operate in the business ecosystem that exists out here. One of the ways that we help internally is that we have an e-bid system, a vendor registration, where we assist companies with registering their business with us so that they are informed about opportunities. We also do trainings and workshops on hub certification and also doing business with the county. We go all the way back to the basics for even just establishing a business in North Carolina. Another thing that we do is we work with our internal departments. We work with our county departments to ensure that they are trained and that they know where to find minority businesses, minority or women-owned businesses. We work with the hub office, so I do want to stress that. And we also help them to identify business owners that are in the community that we may not be aware of that they want to work with. And perhaps those people need some assistance. Perhaps they need to know about certification. We use our county departments to act as a resource for us, as well as we provide resources to them with the internal website and the trainings that we provide for them. Another thing is what we're doing here today. What I'm doing here today is collaborating with external organizations. Work very closely with Eric and the city and putting on different events. We do trainings, we collaborate on outreaches. Some of the other sponsors here, Lachaise and Skanska, who have served as our CMARs, work with them on pre-bid events, pre-qualification events. The Institute is instrumental in helping to provide specialized training that we need internally and externally. So I definitely want to emphasize the importance of collaboration. I will echo what Eric said, that it takes a village, it takes collaboration for us to help encourage minority enterprise development, and that is our goal. So I'm very thankful for the collaborative partners that are here this week, that we all get to come together like this, more than once a year. One thing that some other resources that we have as a program is the Durham County MWBE website. That can be reached, and I'm going to share all of this information in the chat at www.dcpurchasinggroup.com. We also have a Facebook page and a newsletter that I would welcome and invite each of you to subscribe to. And I'll be sharing information in the chat function for you all to reach out to me. And for any other questions, concerns, anything that you would like to know, I would just want to convey that I'm here to be of service. And I'm just happy to be here among the team, celebrating this midweek and thriving through adversity. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Keisha. Next, we're going to have Frederick Davis from Durham Public Schools. believe Fred may not be here as of yet, so we're going to move on. And now we're going to hear from Tammy Hall from the North Carolina Office for Historically Underutilized Businesses. Ms. Hall?
Hi there. Oops, am I back? All right. Actually, I'm Sharonetta McIntyre filling in for Director Tammy Hall on today. And so thank you so much again for the opportunity to be able to share some of the things that we're doing at the Hub office. And so I am going to share my screen. Let's see. Okay, looks like I don't have the option to share, so I'll just talk through it. For folks to just kind of have a high level overview of what it is that we do at the Hub office. And of course, we're responsible for the statewide certification program. And that of course feeds then into the local programs, the local MWBE programs. We have accountability with over 700 agencies that do reporting on a quarterly basis. And so that's across goods and services, as well as the construction side of the house. So the numbers that we achieved for fiscal year 2021, we're excited about them because they're the highest that those numbers have been in over 15 years. And so the state spends about $9 billion a year in goods and services. And so the Hub spending, we were at about 593 million. Is where we ended the year. We were at 6.04%. And so we definitely intend to continue, certainly because we still have that 10% goal that we have to spend with Hub firms. And so we are continuing to work that. However, the needle is in fact continuing to move. And so we are continuing with, the various strategies. On the construction side of the house, we achieved a little over 21%. And so we've generally done, better and had certainly way more than the 10% on the construction side of the house. The total dollars that we're spending there and that we're getting, though, into the pockets of Hubs still is lower than what the opportunity is on the goods and services side. So we certainly continue, again, to move in that direction so that we continue to really build the momentum, ultimately the opportunity that Hub firms have to do business with the state of North Carolina. There is a disparity study. I know earlier Eric mentioned 2014 for Durham. Well, the state of North Carolina completed a disparity study last year. And so those recommendations are in process. All of that can be seen. The reports, all those things are there on our website. So we're in process of recommendations at this point. So there are a number of committees that are doing work to continue. There's a focus on business development. There are things that are looking at the policy, because we certainly know that along with the boots on the ground kind of work that's being done, we have got to continue to advance the policies so that there is a foundation upon which to be able to do a lot of the work and really expand the work that is being done. Along with that, we're also, hopefully everybody knows about the Retool Nc Program. And so that, of course, is a special effort that Director Hall and others through the state of North Carolina were able to pull off last year. Was the first round of it. There's a second round that opened up just a few weeks ago, or maybe just a week ago. Seems like more time than that. But we just opened up that program again. And so that's an opportunity for folks that meet the eligibility for them to be able to get anywhere from $10,000 to $25,000 into their business, specifically for underutilized firms. That includes Hub firms as well as DBEs through Department of Transportation, the Disadvantaged Business Enterprises. And so we're excited about that program. Continuing also, there's work that's going on with our NC Small Business Enterprise Program. And so that's where the focus is on firms that make less than 1.5 million, have less than 50 employees. I'm sorry, less than 100 employees for that particular program. And so really looking at ways to really open up additional opportunities for that segment of the population of business owners. We also have our Minority Business Development Agency Business Center that we have just was awarded this year to us. And so we're in the process of getting that up and going. And so again, it's another opportunity to continue to focus on particular segments within our small business community to really ramp up, really help with resources, technical assistance. And so we are able to do what we do because we have a great staff, but we have great partners. And so we really continue to look forward to the opportunity to strengthen our partnerships and our collaborations across the board as we are implementing recommendations based on what has been happening with the Disparity Study. Then we're looking to increase the hub coordinators. We're looking to have more data transparency in terms of really being able to drill down into the data and better understand, how the dollars that are being spent ultimately link back to the different types of businesses that we have as it relates to their goods and services or construction line of things that they're doing. So we also offer, of course, on an ongoing basis, there are training programs that we offer. There's one called our Purchasing 101, which is offered about monthly. And that's a 2.5-hour session that allows you really to understand how state government works. And so we highly encourage for vendors to attend it and to get a good understanding because it really does help them to build their plans. And so that really rolls into the business development that we do where we work one-on-one with firms to really understand what their goals are and then really to kind of customize basically a plan looking at, where do you fit into this overall picture? What are some potential strategies that are going to work best to help vendors really get to the place, the businesses, to get to the place that they're able to add this layer of contracting within their business model. So those are some of the things that we are doing at the Hub office. We continue to be excited about the work that we're doing. And again, thank you so much. If there are any questions, I'm happy to take any questions.
All right, thank you, Sharonetta. We will open up for more questions during the Q&A. So next, we'll have Dan Stafford from the Institute.
Excuse me. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate that. Thanks for everybody for coming out this evening. The Institute may sound like a new name to some people. It was found, of course, it is what used to be known as the North Carolina Institute for Minority Economic Development, founded back about 35 years ago, 1986. Basically at that time, business leaders, government leaders, folks in the community were recognizing that things had to change. Globalization, changing demographics were coming into play, replacing a lot of traditional industries and markets. So, and there was a need now to handle this situation, these changes, to engage significant untapped segments of the populations, racial and ethnic minorities, women, folks with disabilities, rural residents, other individuals, other groups. It was becoming an economic imperative. So the Institute was formed as a way to lead and take over that way, direct that type of growth. And 30-some years later, that's what's happening. It's still the only organization of its kind around the country focusing on this business economic growth. We do a lot of this through four primary, I should mention, of course, now, we did this year, the name did change, the National Institute of Economic Development, as we merged with the North Carolina Center for Community Initiatives, Community Development Initiatives. So to change our situation, change our focus, and move some of our additional markets beyond North Carolina borders. We do a lot of work through four primary centers, four primary work areas, if I can call it that. One being the Center for Entrepreneurship, Center for Community Investments, Research Policy Program Centers, and Center for Professional Services. Now that means if I break that further down on street boot level, for example, we operate with agreements with the Small Business Administration, 3 women business centers, one in Virginia, 2 in North Carolina, to provide technical, administrative services, education, training opportunities to women-owned firms, as well as actually provides businesses to all related firms. Also, we operate for the U.S. Department of Transportation, the Small Business Transportation Resource Center. If you're interested in looking at transportation opportunities, transportation construction, or anything related maybe to the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Certification Program, that's a good source for that there. You'll find a lot of education and training opportunities for minority executive growth through our Minority Economic Executive Initiative, and also High Point Initiative programs that are out there to help train and build the capacity levels for a lot of small minority-owned and women-owned businesses. Also with Public Allies, a program through AmeriCorps, we've worked with a lot of nonprofits and helping them build leaderships for a lot of putting individuals and interns into positions of those areas for various leadership growth development. So it means even further than that, I mean, we assist with a lot of management technical assistance type programs. We'll help education and training opportunities. We'll help with firms to try to figure out ways to build their resources, their networking, and strengthen their capabilities of trying to run their business or create their businesses, working with corporation programs, federal programs, state or offices or such that may look to trying to bridge their activities or their communications or their relationships with minority and small businesses as well. It's kind of a situation that may sound a little vague, but kind of based on whatever questions you're trying to find out, where I need to go, what I got to do, how can I handle this done? Do you know who does these type of things? How can I get this stuff fixed for me? We try to come in and find a way to help out. And just a brief little thing, as Sharonetta mentioned, for a long time, we also did operate for MBDA, the Minority Business Center for North Carolina. But fortunately, now that program is back in the play under the auspices of the Office of the Historically Underutilized Businesses. So please support them in this effort as they get this thing moving. I'd really appreciate that. Roughly, as I said before, we've kind of worked to see how we can fit in for small businesses from the small business scale to the large corporate level. The mission of the Institute is to strengthen the asset base of diverse populations through policy, education, and economic opportunities. And that's how we try to break it out on the real-time setting. So we're here for the rest of the week. We're here for the rest of the year in the state. So I'm gonna turn that back over to Eric. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Dan. Next, we're going to hear from Jeff Durham with the Greater Durham Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you, Eric. Good afternoon, everyone. As Eric said, I'm Jeff Durham, the president and CEO of the Greater Durham Chamber of Commerce. I believe so joined from the Chamber, our president of community engagement and investment, Angelique Stallings. Welcome, Angelique. Today, it's an honor to join all these organizations and businesses in welcoming you all to Durham's MedWeek. As a resource and advocate of our community for over 115 years, the Chamber's proud that Durham, the Research Triangle, North Carolina are all hubs of diverse people and opportunities. And as partners with our local government and others in broad-based economic development, we also know that we are attracting increasingly new interest and prospects from around the country and around the globe. It's important that we ensure these opportunities lead to economic empowerment, that they support the quality of life throughout our entire community. And that's why we at the Chamber reaffirmed our commitment to racial equity, diversity, inclusivity, collaboration, and innovation by partnering with North Carolina Central University, the Racial Equity Institute, the Triangle DEI Alliance, in Diversity and HR Solutions, and others here who you're going to hear from over the course of the week through the programming. So together, we plan to present resources and best practices that we could ultimately weave into the fabric of our local and regional business community. We will continue to work with public and private and other partners to stay truly inclusive as an organization, community, and society. And we hope that you will all join us for our event on Wednesday with the Triangle DEI Alliance, RTP, the Hub Office, Duke University and Health Systems, and Samick Corporation to hear more about the growth that is coming and how you all can best participate. So with that, feel free to reach out to me or anybody on our team anytime. And here's to a great week of collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Okay. Next, we're going to hear from Mary Crawford with Duke University and Duke Health.
Thank you, Eric, and thank you everyone for being here and participating. We're very happy to be celebrating MedWeek again this year. We definitely missed that last year. My name is Mary Crawford, and I've been with Duke University and Duke Health in supplier diversity role for about 15 years now. We approach supplier diversity at Duke in a variety of ways. We've been committed to strengthening the community and engaging in partnerships with diverse suppliers for over 20 years now. And we're really proud to be partners here again. We work with the City of Durham and the corporate firms on this call to plan, sponsor, and participate in these events every year. And it's always a privilege to engage in this group. We also work closely with the National Institute Minority Economic Development, as well as Carolina's Virginia Minority Supplier Development Council, to help us identify and engage certified diverse suppliers in the region. We have another component of this as well, and that is from a federal government award perspective in the research space. We work with various national agencies to identify diverse and small suppliers in multiple socioeconomic communities. We've also successfully partnered in this manner, consistently evaluating appropriate strategies and continuing to advance and improve on these relationships each year. We collaborate with various schools and departments at Duke, including the Duke Durham Regional Affairs, to identify opportunities where we might have a need in our portfolio to utilize diverse suppliers. So we're analyzing that spend regularly. We also participate in the implementation of the Durham Compact and the Built to Last initiative from both a supplier diversity and an educational perspective. We're also in the beginning stages of engaging with a variety of corporate and nonprofit agencies to develop a working group of regional supplier diversity practitioners to establish best practices and share opportunities for diverse suppliers. Several people have mentioned this collaboration really is key, and we're excited to move these efforts forward and participate in the community in this manner. Due to concerns around the impact of COVID-19 on our Durham community, Duke has provided support through the Duke Durham Fund. Duke has committed an initial $5 million to provide assistance to area nonprofits, small businesses, and community-based organizations. The city and county of Durham established the Durham Small Business Recovery Fund as a result of COVID as well to assist small businesses. And through those efforts, we have contributed over $1 million by Duke to grants to small businesses this past year. Some exciting news that is public, so I can share this now, but we've recently made a new partner with Vizient, a group purchasing organization, which will only strengthen our supplier diversity efforts in the local community. With Vizient and the local leaders, it's our plan to implement what we consider a community contracting program, which will help connect local businesses to Vizient member hospitals and universities. So we're really looking forward to rolling that out over the coming year. So thank you again for being here. Thank you for having me here, and I look forward to connecting with you all later this week. Eric?
Thank you, Mary. Next, we're going to have Denise Barnes with Lachaise.
Thank you, Eric. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Denise Barnes with Lachaise Construction. I am the Regional Diversity Manager for the Southeast. We are located right here in Durham, in downtown Durham. Our local office, we have over 650 construction professionals throughout our organization. I'm delivering over $1 billion in construction annually. We're part of the top 100 contractors in the nations, and we have a strong commitment to diversity and inclusion. Here locally, I really push and strive to ensure that all of our projects and opportunities have self-proposed goals. So we set goals on all of our work, that's both public and private jobs. So just to ensure you that there always is an opportunity, not just when it's a mandate. So again, not only diversity, inclusion, workforce development, we set workforce development goals. We partner with the local schools here, Durham Tech. We have a partnership with Durham Public Schools. We offer mentorship programs. I think Eric spoke earlier about how can we really increase our first tier subcontractor participation. So we have a mentorship program that kind of addresses that with our second tier, and we kind of work with them and strategize with them how they can go to that next level. Collaboration is big, as everyone has stated. I'm glad to say that we pretty much have a strong relationship with many of the organizations here today. We collaborate with them very closely about our project opportunities. We share those opportunities. I will put my contact information in the chat along with our LinkedIn. Please click on our LinkedIn and follow. So you could be up to date about what's going on here locally in the Southeast. So just want to close out, our culture is simple. It's about our vision, is about building partnerships. Our value is always about doing the right thing. And our strategy is about delivering excellence. So I just want to assure you that on every agenda that I'm sitting at the table, diversity and inclusion is always at the forefront. So thank you. And I look forward to hearing from you all soon.
Thank you, Denise. So next, we're going to hear from Jonathan Best with the Samick Corporation.
Thank you, Eric. Good evening, everyone. I'm glad to be here. I know last year we couldn't have midweek, but it's great that we pivoted and went virtual this year, and Samick is glad to be a part. Samick has a long history of diversity and inclusion, and it started out in our headquarters in Greensboro, and it has matriculated to the Raleigh and Charlotte markets. So I handle project diversity for the RDU market, also the ILM market. We have representatives in Greensboro, representatives in Charlotte, also Charleston and Savannah. We are a regional company headquartered in Greensboro. We do about close to $700 million a year, and we really focus on being regional, and we're a family, and our subcontractors are a family. And I'll be a little redundant to like what Denise said. We have a mentor protege program where most recently we've grown one of our GC mentor proteges, and we have a project with the city of Durham where she is going to actually serve as the project manager on the project. And so that was a great success for us that we were able to do that. We also do workforce. We have a students in construction program. We see the need for the growth of our trades and getting them while they're young. So we have the students in construction, and we'll be running that program with Durham Public Schools. We also do that throughout the state in Guilford County and Mecklenburg County. We've also done it in Wake County. I think our biggest thing is that, we want to be here. We want to be a partner. We have a true quick pay program where we're paying subcontracts within 15 days of invoice once it's approved. And, we understand and we help people with bonding. We have a bonding program where subcontractors are able to get bonded, and also an insurance program, because we understand that having those bonding capabilities really is what establishes and helps you with capacity to really be able to survive as a first tier. So what I will do is put my contact information in the chat, and if you want to work in our other regions throughout the state, I'll make sure, if you shoot me an email, I will make sure to get you in contact with the right person. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Next, we're going to hear from Andrea Horn from SAS.
Thanks, Eric. I'm Andrea Horn. I'm the Supplier Diversity Manager at SAS. And SAS is a global analytics software company. We are based in Cary, North Carolina, but we have offices all over the world. Our Cary campus has about 6,000 employees, and then we've got about 7,000 other employees worldwide. We are a privately held company currently, but we have announced that by 2024, we are going to go public. And that's going to provide a lot of opportunities to new suppliers, and in particular, diverse suppliers. We're in the process of auditing our internal operations, and we do suspect that a lot of things will be consolidated, and we'll have to outsource a lot more than we currently do. So please stay in touch with me. I'll put my email in the chat right after this, but like I said, we're in Cary. We've got a 26 building campus. So we procure things just like any other corporation would. So what we primarily look for or what we need from diverse suppliers in the IT space would be software, hardware, and telecom equipment. And then on our corporate services side, we need anything from construction providers, facility maintenance providers, safety, security, HR services, marketing, printing, and promo items, you name it. Right now, I manage the Supplier Diversity Program for primarily in the US, but we are starting to expand that program globally. We're expanding to Canada and then Latin America, and then we'll open up more opportunities worldwide. So if you have experience in other countries with service provider, with providing services or products, I would love to hear from you. We're also looking for diverse suppliers that have multi-level, multi-state certifications. So for example, if you are certified in the state of North Carolina, but also certified in another state, we would love to hear from you as well. And I'm going to turn it back over to Eric. I'll put my email address in the chat. Please reach out.
Thank you, Andrea. Next, we're going to hear from Johnny Ortiz at Skanska.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Johnny, and I am with Skanska, like Eric mentioned. Similar to a few of my other colleagues and counterparts that you've heard from, we are in construction, so we're a large construction management firm. So we are primarily looking for trade subcontractors. So if you are a trade subcontractor, similar to some other folks here, I'll put my information in our chat box. But with that in mind, I would venture to say that a lot of the advocates that are on this call and that help put this event together, in order for you to focus on diversity and maximize opportunities for other people, it does take a bit of passion, and it does take a bit of a personal story. So I would say I've been around small business my entire life. My mother cleaned houses, and I used to help her clean houses as a young child, my sister as well. So small business, I know how difficult it can be to try to be an entrepreneur. Maximizing opportunity, a lot of times that's all people need, and small businesses. So even if you're not a trade subcontractor, don't hesitate to let me know, because similar to what Andrea just mentioned, we're looking for all kind of people. One of the things we're trying to do internally is sort of review our processes and see where we can include diverse vendors, not just from the subcontractor side. So I'd love to have a conversation with you, even if you're not a trade subcontractor. So please let me know. And then secondly, I'd add, in terms of diverse workforce, one of the biggest ways I think we can make a very positive social impact in the communities we work in, specifically in North Carolina and even drilling down further in the Triangle and in Durham, is by giving people opportunities and to create a career. Construction is a great way for people to build an actual career, not just a job. So many that are in difficult situations seem to get sort of non-scalable jobs, and that really doesn't help them look towards something, sort of give them a purpose. So one of the biggest things I would say, again, coming back to making it personal, myself, some of you may know, but I actually dropped out of high school as a young man. I received the GED from a community college, and then I was able to enter the trades, and I got into trade school, and I worked in the trades for 10 years. So what I'm trying to do now is pay that forward, trying to work with some of our local schools, some of our local community college, reach out to the community that perhaps some of our younger people that have dropped out of high school and are looking for things to do. How can we help them get a career, an actual career in construction? Because it could take them the entrepreneurial route. It could take them working for a large construction company, a small trade company. So many things they can do. So those are the two main things I'd like to highlight: is subcontracting opportunities from a trade perspective, Also from a vendor perspective, if you're not only in the trades, feel free to let me know. And then diverse workforce. If you've got ideas, if you know someone who wants to get in construction, please let me know. We're making concerted and intentional efforts to work with our trade partners to see where we can open up these opportunities for people in our community, like we said, specifically in our state, and more specifically in the Triangle and in Durham. So I'll put my information in here. Thank you so much for being on with us. You'll see myself throughout events this whole week. If we encounter each other, don't hesitate to let me know, or other teammates that I may have from Skanska who will attend the events as well. Feel free to engage with them and see what opportunities we have. But thank you for your time. I'll turn it back over to Eric.
Thank you, Johnny. And I'm glad you brought that point up, because really what we wanted to accomplish by having this event as a kickoff is to really, familiarize those attendees with who our collaboration partners are. And so throughout the week, you kind of can put a name with a face, and hopefully that will, encourage more interaction. So thank you for that, Johnny. Now we're going to have CJ Broderick with the Greater Durham Black Chamber of Commerce. CJ.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. 5:25, so I'll be pretty brief as we probably roll into Q&A pretty soon. I am CJ Broderick, President and CEO of the Greater Durham Black Chamber of Commerce. Our vision is economic freedom, right? And our mission is to support the growth and development of the Black entrepreneur, Black business, and the Black business ecosystem. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't give a little bit of an explanation as to how our organization does those things, and also the reason for our work. We do those things in three ways, really. We provide business development opportunities for our members and the community at large. That could be consulting, it could be technical assistance. We work with cities and counties and governments to provide economic development, workforce development, consulting, as well as technical assistance. And then lastly, we provide for large corporations some consulting related to the supplier diversity programs. So those are the three areas we work in. Just a little bit of background into the reason for our work. I think I'd be remiss if I didn't say this. Johnny told a really great story. So Johnny, thank you for setting me up to maybe give some context as well. Diversity, equity, inclusion work is pretty important and pretty big right now. All of our partners here are really working hard to try to figure out how we can really develop minority businesses. But it's important for us to understand the why, right? The why. We are all familiar with the effects of systemic racism. We know that for more than 300 years, there have been systemic advantages to people that identify as white, or have been identified as white, and systemic disadvantage for those that have not been identified as white. As we try to figure out what that means, right? How we've been socialized in these systems. We're all trying to figure out how to make sure that no matter how you identify, that these disadvantages are not a part of your experience. But the history, the data has shown that race is the number one factor in this disadvantage, right? Race is the number one factor, right? And so we're unapologetically an organization that focuses on Black entrepreneurs, Black businesses, Black business ecosystem, because that is the most disadvantaged group. Obviously, our work impacts, and we work with many different organizations across lines of difference, but that is the impact of our work. And in this environment, it becomes very, very apparent, very, you need to understand why. So even as we do this, right, I think that many of us probably in social life to think that there's maybe an equivalence between race and gender or any other of the other different identifiers that we also are working on at the same time concurrently. But the most disadvantaged businesses you can think of, because of this 300 plus history of advantage, systemic advantage and disadvantage because of race, is this racial inequity. And so we're very, very happy to work on this, and I'm very, very happy to work with our partners, here in the city, the county, and across these different organizations in doing so. And I'm looking forward to the Q&A and answering any questions you may have for me as well. Eric.
Thank you, CJ. So just as a quick reminder, we'll do this throughout the week. I mentioned earlier that this is a week full of events to support the work that we're looking to do in terms of advancement of opportunities for our minority and women and small business communities. And so just here are a few of the events again that are highlighted just for your reference. And so now we're going to transition to the Q&A. Let me see. So what we're going to do now is open it up for any questions that you have. I'm going to see. So what I want to do now is open it up to anyone who may have questions. You can submit them via the chat box, or if you want to use the hand icon for someone to recognize you, we can certainly do that as well. But we want to make this portion as interactive as possible. There's a lot of information that was disseminated, and we really want to take the opportunity to tap into these resources and individuals that have made themselves available. So certainly, if you have questions, the floor is open now. Okay, see, So I see there's a question about what was found in 2014 Disparity Study, established targets and the progress of the city and county. Now there's a few layers to this question. I'll try to answer it, with the information that I have available. Now, in terms of specific numbers, I would have to look into the reporting in terms of identification of specific categories and the actual percentage disparities. But there was, identified disparities within, certain communities, hence the determination that certain goal targets would be assigned for those categories. So that was pretty much the predicate that established the baseline for us setting the minority participation targets on our minority and women participation targets on our construction projects, professional service, goods and services alike. Now, in terms of the progress, I can't speak for the county, and even in terms of the city, that data, I would have to look into that to give you more specific accounting of what successes you've seen that we've experienced. Now, I can tell you broadly that clearly there's work that needs to still be done in terms of our achievement of our targets, and which is partly why the importance of this week can't be emphasized enough. We really want to be able to leverage our partnerships within the community to become more innovative in some of the things that we do and be able to engage better with some of our communities so that we're providing, real-time, genuine access to opportunities that align with their availability of the particular scope of service. And so I know it's somewhat of a long, broad answer that maybe doesn't specifically address your question, but when you're dealing in disparities and specific, numbers, it does take a little more research to give you probably a more specific response. But in terms of a quick response, there are disparities that were identified. Work is being done to address those disparities, and time is approaching where we'll probably have to conduct another disparity study because they're typically only valid for about 5 years. And so once you reach a point, a lot of changes could happen in the marketplace that justifies the need for more accurate, relevant data. So that's hopefully somewhat of a response to your question. Okay. Oh, I guess there's a follow-up question. When will this data be available? You can submit a request to, like I said, I can't speak for the county, so I would have to let my counterpart with the county. Now, it depends on the data that you're requesting. And so, like I said, when we report or collect data, the categories are very broad in terms of information. Oftentimes, it only captures participation in the broader categories of minorities. So depending on how specific that request is, it may take additional time to get a little deeper in the data so that you can more accurately depict what categories you're trying to determine. So in terms of giving you a timeline, that could be a few weeks because it does take some time to go through, a lot of data for all the contracts that the city, is currently administering. Any other questions? And I don't want to be the only one talking. So if anyone has questions for other members of the panel, certainly take advantage of this time.
Eric, this is Keisha. I wanted to, I think that you answered the last question for Mr. Borders very well about the data that we do not have specific, data that we can share during this event. That would need to come from a request to our respective departments. I would like to talk about some of the progress that we've made. And since you and I have been working together extensively for the last few years, it kind of leads to the collaboration that we're doing now with our partners. I think that one of the things that we looked at, obviously we recognize each of our organizations that there are disparities that exist, racial, ethnic disparities, and also disparities as it relates to women in contracting. And one of the things that, I'm glad that we've been able to do to address those disparities is to work together, our organizations, and to work with our team of colleagues that is on the phone, that is on the Zoom meeting here. I think that speaks to progress. Certainly it doesn't provide the quantitative data that Mr. Borders may want, or maybe requesting. We just don't have those numbers rolling off of the top of our head. But I think that it speaks volumes of our organizations to be able to come together and not only to collaborate as municipality partners, but also to collaborate with, some of the private partners that are on the phone, on the Zoom. I keep saying phone as well. They have proved to be valuable resources in helping us to address the disparities that exist. And I just wanted to point that out. I mean, we're here for Med Week, and it's a wonderful thing for us to collaborate for an event such as this one. But I think it's important for those that are on the session to understand is that, many of us collaborate with each other all of the time. We can call each other up. We are great resources to one another, which in turn provides a great resource for our community, our small, our underserved, minority and women community, women-owned business community. So I think that's something to bring out, that this is a week, but for us, it's kind of like Johnny says, it's our passion. It's what we do. And it's what we have been doing for a number of years. And I think we've done a better job of collaborating, at least over the 7 years that I've been here. Probably the last 5 or so, I can say we collaborated very, very closely on almost everything as it relates to reaching out to this minority and women-owned business community. So.
Thank you for those comments, Keisha. Do we have any other questions? I'll keep scanning the chat box. I believe I see one. And certainly I'd encourage the panelists if you would like to jump in, because we have some very seasoned experts in this industry that can certainly offer insight that goes beyond mine. So I want to certainly take advantage of the experts that we have. Let's see.
So this is Shay McIntyre again, and I guess just a note. I mean, the reality is that grants are fairly tough to come by. However, there are sometimes specific things that may be available in a particular industry. As far as trucking industry, Department of Transportation with their Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program does have some specific offerings that are available there. And then I know through the Institute, and I imagine Dan would talk about this as well, there's the SBTRC, Small Business Transportation Resource Center. Now, again, I don't know of specific funding that is available through, through those avenues. So you really also want to look at sometimes local organizations. So for example, earlier today, I heard about a specific grant program that's specific in Winston-Salem and Forsyth County area. So I would also encourage you to check out any kind of business accelerator programs, any of those kinds of things, which tend to be a little bit more localized in your area.
Yeah, if I could, thanks, Sharon. If I can mention that too, where I saw your note there in the chat. If you could just, my email information is there in the chat. If you could just direct that question back to me, and I can get in touch with our office. Like I said, we have our office division. That's a Small Business Transportation Resource Center that can go down and do probably some intimate counseling, if you will, with you on various activities that may relate to the truck industry. When you're talking, you have to look at it hard. Things are advertised and promoted as what they are not. It will be extremely difficult. There may be a grant for various situations, for various times, for various issues, but you will very rarely, if you're thinking along this line, you'll rarely find a grant situation that is going to serve the purpose of startup business expenses or get a business up and running from the beginning. That's what you've got to look at that very, very hard. But that's a situation we can sit down with you, as well as many of the other organizations here too. Especially, it's a good program. I mean, I know the MBDA Center that the hub office will be having can definitely help in along those lines when they get up and moving too. To sit down with you to kind of find some various options out, kind of see exactly how that can be interpreted, how you could be looking at things, what's involved in developing financial packaging, what comes along the place. But like I said, you've got to, that can be a very dangerous word from time to time, because folks sometimes will throw that out just to attract a client, and they're not really what they seem to be. You've got to look at it hard. But financing can be done in various situations for folks if they just stay committed to it. I'm hushing now.
Thank you both for that insight. And I think it's important that we can contextualize that consideration a lot of times, because industry-specific assistance, it comes up a lot of times in some of our conversations. I know Keisha and I have had this discussion about our interactions with business owners and trying to figure out from a more personalized perspective what kind of support we can offer. And then there's leveraged oftentimes when you can be more specific in some of the target categories. And so that's a consideration that we're exploring with the city as well. Is like, what kind of efforts can be taken, in certain industries that it's easier to leverage, resources to assist those, business owners. Certain industries don't have the same operating restrictions or equipment requirements that make it more restrictive to be supportive in that regard. And so thank you for that insight. That's certainly something that we can discuss, like Dan and Sharonetta mentioned, on a more, a one-on-one level to, discuss maybe strategies and resources that are both available locally and beyond to kind of support those efforts. Thank you for the questions. Do we have any more?
Hi, Shameka Ebony with Shameka Ebony Firm. I have a question in relation to, I have been brought in on some municipality partnerships around community engagement. And I guess this question is for those that are working with the city and county when collaboration opportunities exist. What I've found is there'll be plenty of other counties or surrounding counties that could benefit from engagement strategies that maybe this town is tapping into. And I'm just wondering, is there some better practices amongst networking? I've done a lot of work in Asheville around reparations, and yet, there's so many other counties and cities in the state of North Carolina that could benefit from this community engagement work. And I'm just not necessarily seeing a front door way to sit the municipalities down to say, hey, let's look at a larger strategy to address this more intentionally and collectively. But I do hear a lot of banner waving around diversity and inclusion being a priority. So I just wanted to lift that up from theory to practice. How can myself and those that do work like myself be put in, or be in the beginning a little bit more sooner in the conversations around how cities and counties can align and look at community engagement and having these hard conversations on what it looks like to show up for the constituents in the community. So I just wanted to see if there was a way to address that. I would like to say probably in the kitchen of things, maybe some moves that can happen, or some ways of being that I could be made aware of to better put myself forth out there as a HUB certified business owner.
You want to take this one, Keisha, or anyone else?
I'll start it. And I want to make sure that I want to make sure that I understand what you're asking is, how can a business owner such as yourself, how can you get an audience with people that do what we do? Is that what you're asking?
I'm
in
asking
different municipalities.
Yes. So I know for what I do, as far as my NAIS codes, it's centered around public speaking, it's around community engagement, it's around training and facilitation. But the core of it is I'm responding to RFPs that are, very specific to a municipality looking for community engagement in this area. Well, 2 counties over, they're looking for the same thing, or will be in 2 years or 3 years. So what I'm asking, is there a network on the back end of those that are targeting how we look at people that are providing services, as far as not necessarily goods, but services as far as training and facilitation? Are there ways of being or practices to align municipality engagement, or I guess increase the audience of getting to several municipality partners and lifting up this is an option or a way to engage HUB certified businesses or minority business owners that are providing services and training and consulting?
Okay, I think I understand. Are you familiar at all with the North Carolina Minority Coordinators Network?
I have not heard of that. That's
okay.
A great asset then, right there.
Okay, I'm happy to put you in touch with the organization. Actually, I'm a member. Several of my colleagues that are on the phone are on the Zoom are members. And that's a network where you're going to be able to connect with other members of municipalities throughout the state of North Carolina. And I think more than anything, it's about relationships. It's about those of us that are in the different municipalities knowing who you are and what you do. And so I think that would probably be a great resource for you. So I'm happy to provide information about the network. Johnny, who is on the line, I know he is on the board. I'm a former board member. We're very active, but that's how, that provides a lot of visibility for someone such as yourself that is providing that type of training. I know for the training that the county will be doing, and the person that is contracted as a HUB, minority woman, Black woman. I first became aware of her through the network, the North Carolina Minority Coordinators Network. And so I'm happy to do that. I'll let Eric add anything else, but I think it's all about relationship and connecting and being in the spaces where people that are going to appreciate what you do are.
I agree. And just a few quick things I'll add. And so Keisha was alluding to a situation with a business owner that she had engaged with that has been successful in being able to secure opportunities with the county. Well, that same individual had approached our office, and we kind of developed some strategies to kind of focus in specific areas within both the county and city, with hopes that hopefully one of those strategies would connect her to a real opportunity. Well, the city didn't really have those existing opportunities at the time, whereas the county did. And so that emphasizes the importance of the collaboration and kind of getting your business within that discussion within the greater, community, so that they can help leverage you as a provider of that resource. Now, I will talk to you about kind of the challenges that you've alluded to, because it's something real that we as an organization have recognized as well, within being able to leverage opportunities for HUB firms that provide services that we as a city are looking to contract. Part of that is knowledge about who's in the marketplace that can provide those opportunities. So I think the first step is what you're doing today, is really educating us about what you can do and how you fit into that equation. Now, the second part of it is, us as an organization being able to be at the front lines as these opportunities are being determined, and how we figure out how to position, a business owner so that when opportunities hit the street, you're positioned to really access those opportunities. You have the relationships. Because what we find out a lot of times that these things happen before, these relationships happen before these opportunities hit the street. And then it becomes really difficult for you as a business owner that's new to this arena to leverage your experience and expertise in a way that increases your value over another firm that's been doing the same type of work. And so I'm basically, to sum all of it up, it's something that requires a specific strategy a lot of times that we at both the city and county can discuss, because there's nuances within all these organizations that you have to really understand to better position yourself to really gain access to opportunities in a way that you can be competitive.
And I'm going to add a little bit more to that, Eric, as well. Shameka, the question you asked, I think, is pretty important. And I think when I think about your question, I think about it in a little bit of a different way, right? There is individual work that has to be done, right? And so you can do those things. But there's also institutional work and systemic work that has to be done, right? You're right that right now everybody's throwing around the words diversity, equity, inclusion, and it's just so, everybody's putting it on their web pages, but not everybody understands what it really means, right? It should not be up to you as an individual business owner to go around to everybody and work in a system that systemically disadvantages you anyway, right? So I think what I want you to also think about is think about these resources that are on this call, right? One of the things I'm thinking about is the NC Hub office and their work, right? So, what this looks like in Durham County, because in Durham County, we do have a really diverse population. We have great partners here on this call. This is something we're working on, right? But I can't tell you what it's going to look like if you're trying to work in Cleveland County or in another of our 100 counties in North Carolina, right? So the NC Hub office is a really, really great resource. I appreciate sharing that out for the transparency and data that they're sharing, and what this looks like, right? All of us together, we have to figure out best methods and practices, right? What's working in Durham? How do we lift that up to the NC Hub office? How do we lift it up to our other sister counties across the state? But it's really important for us to understand that this is very, very difficult work, right? And marginal success is important, but we have to continue to figure out what's working and lift that up. Think about this, and I'll end here, but think about this, right? In order for the city and county to have a program, an MWBE program, right, to really intentionally work on supplier diversity, if you will, right? There had to be a disparity study, right? The North Carolina as a state, sharing that it said just finish a disparity study, probably $500,000 in combined resources in studying what to be your experience, right? And so it's much more complicated than just the individual relationships, right? Because there are 1,000 people just like you that are having the same issue. And so partnerships like we're working on today is important for our transparency to continue to figure out what works, what doesn't work, so that this experience that you're having, it changes, for you in the near future and for generations to come.
Thank you, CJ. Do we have any more comments or questions? I know we're approaching the end of the program, and this is really a good dialogue. I don't want us to cut this short, but for the sake of time, I want to make sure that if there's any lingering questions or comments anyone likes to share, that they can have the floor now to do that.
Yeah, I guess just one thing. I know that as far as the hub office is concerned, of course, there's certain agencies, entities that where hub governs, that 10% that we have currently as the goal. And then there's some leverage at the municipality level because there's a different set of funding in terms of how things flow. And so it is. I mean, it's a challenging place to be. But I would agree with you. We continue to do the things where we can govern what is in our area of responsibility, and we continue to do those things as it relates to best practices so that we are learning from one another and that we are, looking for that opportunity and really kind of putting in place those accountability measures that are going to help us to really continue to move the needle forward.
Thank you. I do see a question in the chat, which is something we get a lot of times, and it's because of the unique service or product that a particular vendor provides. They see challenges in connecting with certain municipalities, and it can be a challenge because oftentimes there are not going to be a lot of opportunities for that particular product, but we always encourage interaction because we can even discuss from a broader perspective strategy initiatives to kind of help you figure out which targets you may better focus your energy. Maybe the city isn't a good fit, but there could be a collaboration partner of ours that's on this call that may have a need for your product or service. So we always encourage open discussion, interaction, and use us as a resource, as an extension of your marketing, so that you can help build your stronger relationships with the broader community. So I hope that gives you some insight. But yeah, we do see challenges with the unique and specialized nature sometimes of the product or service a particular vendor provides. Any more questions?
I know there was a mention. I was going to say, I know there's a mention of like best methods and practices. So I think we'd be remiss if we didn't share at least something that's been a really, really great response or really, really great story for how some of the work that we're doing across different agencies, whether it's a city, county, or the NC Hub office. Maybe someone has a quick story or two to share about something that's really a best method of practice, or just something great that's happened as a result of this collaboration or your work individually.
Well, not sure if this is quite what you're looking for, but certainly on the Retool program, that was a collaboration that we had with the Department of Transportation, with the DBE program, and really just looking to make that opportunity available, really across the board. And so just to be able then to kind of get the information out through the network, because again, it's for any disadvantaged business enterprise. And so just trying to really cover the bases beyond what our area of direct responsibility is for was certainly a successful strategy that Director Hall employed.
Well, do we have anyone else who would like to share a success or just a lingering question as we approach the close of our kickoff event?
Hi, Eric, this is Keisha. I just want to share with everyone, we have put together as a team a survey of the event, and I'm just asking that for those of you that have seen it, I'll share it one more time in the comment. Please respond and help give us some feedback so that we know what we're doing right, what we can improve on. Also, feel free to reach out and email any one of us, but I just wanted to reiterate that if you have not already done so, please do respond to the survey link that is in the comments. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Keisha. It looks like we don't have any more comments or questions. I would like to thank you all for your attendance and engagement and insightful discussion. These events are just as beneficial for us on this side of the panel a lot of times, because the feedback that we gain from this discussion is really helpful in helping us frame and better determine the things that we need to do on our end to support the businesses that we serve. And so we really appreciate the interaction and engagement and the transparency and willingness to engage in dialogue. In terms of reminders, I do want to remind everyone that this is the first of 5 events. We're looking forward to seeing you at the remaining events throughout the week. Like I said, we have the award ceremony tomorrow. It's a great opportunity for us, even during a time that's been challenging for a number of small businesses, to highlight the accomplishments and achievements of our business communities and continue to support one another as we move forward in the work that we do. I would like to thank the panelists for their time and willingness to share about what's going on within their organization and their commitment to equity and the work that we do as collaborative partners to continue supporting one another. That's all I have for tonight or this evening. Thank you all again and look forward to seeing you the rest of the week.
Thank you, Eric. Have a great
Thank
night.
you.
Thanks so much.
Have a good evening.